Obviously it's not good morning everyone, which is why we're recording this morning's TA session for the Year 14 who are not with us, and it's of particular relevance to them as well as everyone else because we're going to be looking at iPads. Before we do that, I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to the new school website, which looks very much like the old school website but with some slight changes, particularly on the left hand side. All of these buttons now link into specific document folders that the office can update. So, for example, if we look into school info, you'll see that Kerry's put on some information there that is widely available to parents and should be available to parents. We've got our prospectus. The school calendar now links through to a full screen view of the parent calendar. Obviously this is intended for parents. There's a preschool documents area, there's a parent documents area. These are all public spaces that you do not require a password to get into. There's a link off to our class blogs page, which gives links to each of the class blogs. The pupils links button is the one that I sent you a video about, and I thank you for all those people that have engaged with my challenge so far. There is a digital photo frame on offer for the class that has the most links into their area. At the moment,
well, hopefully it's you too.
There's a Year 4 of Miss Johnson went a bit mad last night and put a lot of math links in, and I'm going to go back and regulate Miss Johnson because she's put too many into one area.
So how many are you thinking for one area, Mr. Schroeder?
Well, the maximum you can have for subjects is 9.
9.
The idea is that you change it and keep it current to what you're doing. Staff docs is the area that you will need to log into. I'm currently logged in, so it takes me straight in. But those are the details that I sent you. It's that staff.pow@gmail.com, password prince123 with a capital P. Those login details are now used. We've simplified the process because we've made it the same login for the blogs, the school Peter's diary, the parent diary, the staff documents area. So all those login details are now the same. So you've only got to remember one now opposed to two. What it used to be 2 different ones. Governor docs is another password area for the governors. Staff email takes you straight through to the email login page, and finally Powder docs is another public area. Underneath we've got a link to our YouTube channel with all the latest videos in. This includes the parent information session videos, with the exception of Year 1s. I will track Mr. Major down, and some other things that we've been doing with the iPads in Year 2 in particular at the moment, but also running blinds on the making of running blind, as well as some digital leader videos from last year. So hopefully you'll see that the website is simplified because we've now lost Merlin. Merlin goes at the end, officially ends September 2013, but we've obviously wanted to speed the process up and make sure that everything's in place so that when that comes around you're not struggling on where to put things really. So that isn't the focus of today, but I did want to show you. You will notice that my laptop is communicating the board without any wires. This is where you go, ooh. Mr. Farrington went over the other day. He did, so he's already seen it, which is why he's made those. Year 2 and Year 4 now have one of these boxes. This is an Apple TV device, commonly found in homes, but we're using it in school. Normally it connects with the HDMI lead, which is ones you may have with your Blu-ray, DVD players, etc. Our projectors don't support HDMI, so we've had to buy a converter that goes into the back. So the Apple TV goes into a converter, and then you plug in the normal leads that go into a laptop. I'll just move around for people on this side. So if you go into Year 2 or 4, and you want to use their computer with your computer, so you go in, Mr. Farrington I'm speaking to in particular, maybe when he goes in for his RE lessons, you'll need to unplug the blue and the green from this little box and plug them into your laptop as you would before, in the same way as if they were plugged into somebody's laptop. Currently you can only wirelessly stream from Apple laptops and Apple iPads, but there's probably going to be products made available to do it from Windows laptops soon as well. So let's talk about the iPads. We currently have 14 iPads purchased for use in class, 7 in Year 4, 7 in Year 2. We additionally have various children throughout the school that are now using an iPad for special educational need purposes. So Jack's had one the longest in Year 4. He's had one since he was in Year 2, and that was initially purchased as a speech and language communication communication device. Dolly has one from home that she brings into school. Eddie has one that he brings in home from school, and Ronaldo will start to have one from school as well. So we've got loads in school, and it took us a long time to decide to buy the iPads. It's been something that's been on the horizon for a long time and now has eventually come. We eventually went with the iPad 2 because it's a cheaper model. It enabled us to get more of them for the same price, and we purchased these cases. These are big grip cases. So essentially this is the iPad, and it goes straight into the case. You've got to be quite firm with them, haven't you? Year 2 and Year 4, the Year 2 team as your head. But the great thing about them is that they're very robust when... They are very robust when they've got the case on.
How much do they cost?
The important thing to remember though is that the screen is not protected. The screen has no form of protection. The problem with putting protection on the screen, as soon as you do that, you reduce the interactivity of the screen, which makes it what it is. So we haven't put any protection on top of the screen. Jack broke his iPad recently, but he didn't have one of these cases on. We're hoping that these cases will hugely reduce the risk of breaking.
You can have a screen on for Ronaldo's, aren't we? You can have a screen protector.
Ronaldo's is going to have something different. Ronaldo's is a different sort of setup. He's going to have a guard over it as well. But that's very much to his needs. Let me just turn this one off so I can show you how to turn it on. The great thing about this case is that it protects everything. The not so good thing is it makes everything quite hard to get to. So when you go to plug in the power lead, it's quite fiddly, and Year 2 team will be able to vouch for me on that one. To turn an iPad on, you need to look, first of all, have it the right way round. There is no correct way to hold an iPad once you're using it, because ultimately the screen rotates to you, which is brilliant. But the bottom is where the home button is, which is this button here. And at the top right hand corner there is a black button which you press and hold, and this will turn the iPad on. This will boot up. It boots up very quickly, as you'll see. Also at the top here you've got your microphone and you've got your headphone socket. Headphones are particularly tricky to get on with these cases, but it is possible. You've just got to really believe where you're pushing it is right and go for it. On this side you've got your volume controls up and down, and you've also got a switch. The switch locks the screen so it won't rotate, which is really useful because if you're sitting with it on your lap, often you're sitting with it like this, and the screen will automatically orientate upside down because it thinks someone's looking at it from this perspective, because you are holding it up, you are holding it at an angle, aren't you? So that lock button can be useful if children are working on their laps and they're moving their legs around and you don't want the screen to be rotating around. So that's that lock button. So it's switched on now. To unlock the iPad, you just simply slide the slider across. We haven't put any pass keys on to unlock. Once you do that, it's open. The other things you've got at the bottom here is your speakers. You've got your dock connector. We're using power cables directly into the wall at the moment because it's the fastest way to charge them. And we haven't really had any. We've had one go at one point because we didn't keep an eye on the percentages, but as long as we put them on each night, they should last 10 hours on a full charge, which is more than enough for school. Also on the back you've got a hole for the camera, and let me show you, before I show you how to, some of the applications on there, let me just show you how we get it to communicate with Apple TV. So Apple TV works via the Wi-Fi in school. It doesn't connect to the internet, it just connects to the network that is pushing the internet around. So this box is connected to the Wi-Fi, and as long as this iPad is switched onto the Wi-Fi as well, they should be able to communicate to each other. Now to get to that menu, you double click the home button to bring up a new menu at the bottom. You slide it across with your finger and you'll see that there's a little square, or it's a rectangle with a triangle in, which is the AirPlay symbol. You press AirPlay and you select the device. Now obviously when Year 4s are set up, we'll have one that's say Year 4 and one that's say Year 2. So potentially you could be in the hall and press Year 4 and take over Year 4's board in the classroom, which actually has some purposes sometimes. If you're using the camera, you might want to show them what's happening in the hall. That could be quite exciting, but generally you want it to show it in the place you want it to be, which is why we've named them Year 2 and Year 4. So you click Year 2, you switch the mirroring switch on, and then you'll see on the board you have that. It'll be easy for me to show you how to do that now because I can show you on the board. So from the home screen you double click, the round home button. On this bottom menu, where you've currently got Mathletics and MathsWiz, you slide it across and you press this button to bring up that menu, which is Airplane. Just click Year 2 and Mirroring. Most apps that you get will screen mirror exactly what's on here, will appear on the whiteboard, the Apple TV device. Some apps deliberately don't display on Apple TV. They've chosen to opt out of that. An example would be the Morpho app, which I used last year. Some of you would have seen, to change people's faces into animated characters. You can't use that with Screen Mirror for some reason. There's other things like there's a really good, it's not on here, but there's a really good driving game that EA Sports have made, and you on the big screen or at home on your TV, you've got the racing track, but on here you've got your steering wheel controls. So you're actually playing the game through the iPad, but it's projecting the vision of the track onto here, and you've got your speedometer and you've got your what lap you're on here. So, and then you use this as a steering wheel. So, but generally it just mirrors what's on your display. That screen lock, you can see as I'm demonstrating to you, because I'm walking around, it can be quite annoying. So if I just turn the screen lock on, now when I move it around, that stays the same, which is the advantage of that screen lock. So let me show you some of the exciting things you can do with an iPad. I've tried to put on as many applications to get it started as possible. Mrs. Jukes now has the iTunes username and password, which is highly protected as it's linked with the school credit card. But if we do want to purchase apps, whether they're free or whether they are have a cost associated with them, you need to go through Bev, who will help you install those onto the devices. Well, if we go to Creative, this is the first folder I've got on here. There's a range of creative apps there. One that we've particularly been enjoying in Year 2 is Puppet Pals. This is the free version of Puppet Pals, and it may be that in time we decide to purchase the fuller version. The full version is about $2.99, and it's one-off cost for all those 14 devices, which is a great thing about the Apple licensing. So if I press to start, I can choose my actors. We did try and add Miss Scott as an actor in Year 2 the other day, but we found out that you had to have a paid version to add your own actors. But with the paid version, you can crop your pictures to make your actors. But if I just choose some of the free actors, you'll see that instantly I can create, by selecting a scene and selecting my characters, I can select my very own puppet theatre. And obviously the great thing about an iPad is because you've got all of the tools built into the device, you can instantly record. You can say, once upon a time there was a princess who was being scared by the mighty dragon. But a fairy godmother, Mrs. Thorne, came in to rescue her and made the dragon so tiny that he could hardly be seen and was never seen again. And then instantly, I press stop and I can play that back. You can say, once upon a time there was a princess who was being scared by the mighty dragon. But a fairy godmother, Mrs. Thorne, came in to rescue her and made the dragon so tiny that he could hardly be seen and was never seen again. Straight away you've got that, and you've created this instant project, which is great. This is a lovely independent group reading task, isn't it, to do your own puppets as you would do before. You can then save that to the device, so I could call that tester. And what that'll do is it will save it into my that'll save that into an area that you can then export. So if I export this one, what it's going to do is it's going to encode the video down and it's going to put it into my camera roll, which I can then export either through the laptop with a cable. I can put it on straight onto YouTube, I'm sure Mr. Thorne would love that, or I can send it off to multiple destinations. Okay, so now if I go down to camera, and in the bottom left hand corner click camera roll, you'll see that that video that we've just made is ready to play. Record. You can say, once upon a time there was a princess who was being scared, and you can easily export it or edit it from there. So that is Puppet Pals HD. It's a really good one. There's a Bible version of that. It's only got the story of Daniel and the lion in as an example, but you can purchase different stories according to what you're doing. Crayola camera is a nice one to give us an instant colouring page. Let's have a look at this one. This is particularly good for younger children. That's not the monkey, isn't it? Oh, the input. Yeah, sorry. There's a camera on the front as well as the back. The camera on the back's high quality, The camera on the front is designed for when you're using Skype or FaceTime to video conference with people. So, if I take a picture of the monkey, there we are. Press use. Now I'm going to suck all of the colour out of it, pressing this button. It's very visual for children. I can then choose to add some stickers, if I've got the full version. Or I can go straight through and I can colour that picture in. Just a nice quick tool that you can use as a sort of starter activity. Morpho, this one here, is the app that I was talking about that changes your face into an animated face. I won't show you that one now because it doesn't scream out, but it's a really good one. Virtual Snow makes, this is where everyone will see the audience, look. Makes you have snow wherever you are. The problem with a lot of these free apps is that they all contain adverts at the bottom, and you'll see that's not a very appropriate advert at the bottom there. That's why we need to start looking at upgrading these to non-free versions to get rid of those adverts. Drawing is a simple web drawing tool. The quickest way, if you want to lose the adverts, because the children often just click on them, if you go to settings, I'll show you how to get onto settings now. You slide across and you go to the folder that says do not use for children. I probably should have put use on it because then children wouldn't press it. Do not use and settings. If you turn aeroplane mode on, which is this one up here, that kills all Wi-Fi. So it does mean that certain things won't work, like for example the Apple TV. But when they're at the tables, the Apple TV's gone now. When they're at the tables, that can be quite useful because it will remove all those adverts. So if you are using free ads, because the adverts only work because they're connecting to somewhere to push the adverts down. So that's just a option before we purchase the full content. But most apps that are designed for education don't include adverts, and we can explore some of those. The next one I want to share with you, this is going to be a whistle-stop tour, and I'm going to mention lots and lots of things in the space of the next 20 minutes or so, which is why I'm videoing it, which is why you can watch it back, and I'll send everyone the link. I'm conscious to share as much information as possible in this time.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Is there going to be a rota for when we can use it in class, or is it just for
At the moment, it's just being used with year 2 and year 4. However, there's no reason why you can't come to us and ask, next Wednesday, can we use the iPads in this session because we really feel that we'll benefit from that, and then we can plan that accordingly. Obviously, at the moment, we're using them as much as possible all the time. But if we're aware that another class wants to use them, then we can. There's no reason why we can't come to that as a sensible arrangement like we would have done with other resources. But obviously, we're left with no computers then, so we need to know that in advance. So as much notice as possible. Sometimes we might be able to say next day, yes, have them. Do you know what I mean? But where possible, as much notice would be preferable. Okay, so those were some of the creative apps. These are collaboration. These are things that are deliberately I've put in here for children to work together. One thing they seem to really enjoy, particularly the year 3 and 4 children, and we've done this with year 2, and they did enjoy it initially, but as soon as this game they found that it was a challenge, they would just cheat and then there was no learning involved. So let me just show you this game. So I'm going to need 3 volunteers to come and play. Mrs. Jukes is volunteering, look. Miss Roberts and Mrs. Long. Come and have a game.
Put your hand up.
If we come and stand over here, we can play if we come and stand over this way, and then hopefully everyone else will be able to see. So we're going to press play game, and we're going to join the game by pressing a button. So we're going to tap the middle to start. And what we need to do is read the words of the picture that we see. So it's a square, so we're going to press on the rectangle, so we're going to press rectangle. Mrs. Duke's got there first, she gets the point. Oh, that was me. You didn't hit it first, only the person that hits it first will get the point. You see the problem with this with children that aren't prepared to play the game, they'll just click anyone to try and be the first one. Oh, me and Mrs. G. Give our volunteers a clap. So that's just a really good example of how an iPad is not just for one person, it's for lots of people. And we've been focusing our work in Year 2 on doing as much collaboration as possible with the iPads. Another really good app that I love at the moment is called Screen Chomp. This is a basic whiteboard recording tool. So you can add any picture as background, or you can choose to take a picture, and we can use this as our background. And then I can choose to annotate on top of this. And what I would do is I would say, today we are choosing how to sit nicely in our class. Look at these people that are folding their arms nicely. I'm not sure what this person's doing here, but maybe there's some green for growth here. Well, I'm not happy with coffee in the classroom, you know. And you can record what you're saying, and instantly you press stop. You've got a video that's been created. Choosing how to sit nicely in our class. Look at these people that have folded their arms nicely. I'm not sure what this person's doing here, but maybe there's some green for growth here. Well, I'm not. And obviously the great thing about that is they can go back to the table, they can watch it, and these two buttons here, we wouldn't use this one, but this one here, when you press it, it uploads it direct to the Screen Chomp website. At the moment, this isn't working in school, we've got to open some more ports, as we're finding with quite a lot of iPad apps. But it will, if you take this home and connect it to your home Wi-Fi network, or the teacher takes it home, they can press the Screen Chomp button and it will instantly send it to the Screen Chomp website, and it will give you a URL, a unique web address, without you doing anything. It will just give you that web address that you can put into your blog and say, look, this was our plenary yesterday, have a go at some of these at home. And that's what we've been doing in Year 2. So that's Screen Chomp. iBrainstorm is a note-taking tool really, but it allows you to do post-it notes, and you can share those post-it notes across iPads. So you can have all the children sitting in little groups on the carpet, they can write their post-it note, press a button and it appears on the whiteboard, so sending their post-it notes up. So that's a good one. I need multiple iPads to show you what to do with that one. Whiteboard is a tool we had a bit of fun with in a staff meeting when we were looking at iPod touches, and it enables you to share a whiteboard with other devices, so you can have 3 people or 7 people in the class using the same whiteboard. So you could ask a maths problem, the first person to get it right could be in their colour, could be the person that answers it, you know, and you get to see the workings out. It's good for sending messages across class. It'd be great for, you know, in reception, have one on one corner of the room, one on the other, and just see what someone's doing on the other side of the room. There's big potential for that one. The media button, under the media button we've got the general photo library, so any photos that you take you can always access in the camera by clicking the left button like I did earlier to see the video. But another way of getting to them is to click here. This is another version of the camera. It provides more advanced tools, sort of your colour setting and saturation and things you may be used to if you're using a SLR camera at home. Skype, there's immense potential for Skype in the classroom. There is a website called Skype in the Classroom from Skype that allows you to connect to classrooms all across the world using video conferencing. And the iPad's great for video conferencing because you can walk around the classroom and say, look, this is what we're learning, what are you learning in India, for example. Videos is the same as the photos button, it just takes you to the video section. Photo booth's always a bit of fun. Let's have a look. We can do this one. Sorry, I keep picking you, Mrs. Jukes. We can manipulate the image. Children love playing with that. And then you just instantly press to hit the photograph.
Nice.
And then you've got that to play with. One for the wedding invite. So that's a really good one to play around with. iPhoto is another more advanced photo tool. Allows you to take a photograph. See, this is an app that doesn't work with Apple TV. It works slightly differently. So you've got two. By using this app with Apple TV, you've kind of got the two-screen experience. You'll probably be doing some editing on here and see what it looks like on here. You'll probably be able to zoom in. I've not used this with Apple TV before, so we'll see what happens. See, I've got this picture on here. It's not displaying on there, so it's not designed to be used with Apple TV. iMovie is my personal favourite app in the world. It's what I've been using for a long time, the last year or so, to make all films that we've been making in school. It's a complete movie making tool on the iPad. You can record your content and then instantly create that into a
So
film.
could we book an iPad for, like, say, our farm trip next
Yeah,
week?
that's fine. That's completely fine. Another app that is fantastic is iMotion HD. Previously, we used to have someone in to come and do stop motion with us. You know, going back 6-7 years ago. Now the children can instantly do it. Again, this is another app that doesn't work with this, but the children can instantly do it. They click create new movie. We can choose a time-lapse film where we just leave the camera and it takes a photo every 30 seconds. That's fun to see what's happening in your lesson. You could do that as a CPD tool to see are we moving around the staff, or are we always working with the same people, or you know, which children are not getting out their seats to get their resources. You can do manual, which is the traditional stop motion way of doing it. You can access it with a remote. Now the remote works if you have an iPhone or an iPod Touch, and that allows you to click away, which is quite nice if you want to put the camera somewhere where you can't actually click it. You can put it at the top of a PE frame of PE, for example, and use the remote to click away. And you can do it by microphone, so by sound. If we press manual and start, every time we want to take a picture, we just press capture. And if we all put our hands in the air, our hands out to the side, hands in the air, and then arms folded. And when we press stop, and we've got to press stop again, you'll see that we've instantly created our stop motion animation. Which, at the moment, we haven't purchased the full version of this, so it only stays in this app, but we can export it, and then if we pay for the full version and use it in iMovie, etc. So there's lots of potential there. Finally, the one that we've really, again, loved using in Year 2, and you'll see a display on the wall there of this one, is something called Pic Collage. Pic Collage is what it says on the tin, really. It's a way of making a collage of photographs. I tap here to create a new collage, press anywhere, and I can use the camera, or I can use pictures I've already taken. So this time I'm going to use the camera. Again, smiling everybody. You're all folding your arms this time, like, don't you? I'm going to press use, and I can put as many photos as I want on this, and I can manipulate the images and put them anywhere. I can also choose to add text, and I can customise the colour and the font with that. And once I've done that, I can make it as big or as small as I want to. There's also a selection of free stickers that you can use. which you'd obviously adjust accordingly. And this one is all free. You can press this button in the bottom right hand corner, and you can save it to the library, which then means you can share it anywhere, or you can send via email. So there's all those tools that are there straight away. So that's media. Literacy, there's a range of things to explore in here. One thing that we've started to use already in Year 2 is the magnetic alphabet. You never run out of S's. It's amazing. You can have as many S's as you want to. But just drag and then you can organise. Great for letters and sounds. Great for show me boards. Again, this does contain adverts at the top. This lesson is sponsored by Professional Green on iTunes. Something like that is not too bad because it's quite minimal. Like a lot of things, there are in-app purchases which you can choose to upgrade for £1.50. All of this on the iPads has been turned off for the children, so they can't, even inadvertently, they can't purchase anything. They would need to enter a password, so there's no way that that's going to happen. So if you watch, if I slide to purchase this, we've got in-app purchasing disabled, so the children can't do that. But you can see how this would be quite, there's some things here, like lowercase letters, numbers, mass symbols that you might want to decide to purchase in the future. I'm not sure if they do a cursor set or not. Speak for Me is one that they've been using in Year 4 quite a lot. Jack's been using that recently. It's a free app. You type in what you want to say and press speak, and it speaks it out loud for you. One that I've shown for a long time, which a lot of you would have seen before, is my. I said all of these are my favourite app, aren't they? But this one is my favourite app. So I think it shows the full potential of using an iPad in the classroom. It's not going to show me, is it? No, it's because of the. It's because of the. It's because of the Apple TV. Not all of the things will sync with the Apple TV. I'll show you on the iPad. So, I'll stand here. This is Disney's digital books. This is the only free book. Oh, something wrong at all. No. Right, I'll see what that is. But it's the only free book in the series, but it allows you to record your voice over the book. So first of all, it gives you a very American person reading the story to you. And then you switch on record and you can record it and it will play it back along with all the theme music as well and all of the animation that happens in this book.
It highlights the words.
It highlights the words as you go as well. So it just links everything in, so the children aren't just reading, they're almost narrating a Disney classic sort of thing. And you can also there's a brilliant drawing game in there that you colour in the characters within Toy Story and you shake the iPad to clear the screen, which I think is just brilliant. Etch-a-sketch, exactly.
Gary, my question was, how do you browse and find these apps?
Okay, so if you want to download new apps, if you want to explore the apps, you need to go to Do Not Use and Settings, and you need to go to Restrictions. And Bev will be able to give you the passcode for the restrictions. Okay, which I've mentioned. Yeah, you do know what it is. Some of you may have seen it then. But what you need to do is once Bev can open up this button that says installing apps, because basically we've turned off installing apps, so the children can't install apps. But as soon as we turn on installing apps, and deleting apps for that matter, when you go back onto the menu, you'll see that the App Store's appeared, where it wasn't there before. When you go to App Store, that's where you can find all of your apps. You'll see that what I was searching for at home last night. So, say for example, we wanted an art app. This is where we can search for art.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And you'd instantly get the art apps. These are particular iPad apps. They're built for iPad screen. iPhone apps do work on a iPad, however they appear smaller. I'll give you a quick example. Our school iPhone app, which is always at the bottom here, is designed for use on an iPhone in that orientation. So when you click it, it should only open that big, because that was the original size it was designed in. However, you can use a magnifier, but you'll see that the quality is reduced as you make it bigger, because it's originally designed for that smaller screen. So when you're in the App Store, you can browse by looking at all. You can search by category, by price. You can just select the free apps if you want to. Again, you can look by device here. Once you've found something that you want to sort of delve further into, you can click on it and it will give you a preview and it will give you some screenshots of what it looks like in action. It'll also give you some ratings and some reviews. If at that point you want to purchase it, that's when you're going to need Bev, because once you press install app, it's going to come up with the password, and that's what Bev's got, and that's linked to the school credit card. So Bev will be the only person that can do that. Juliet's also got the details in the office, but you need to go through Bev. So you can get quite far in exploring apps before actually downloading them to have a play. And ultimately, if you want to just try it out, we could just put it on one device to start off with, see if you like it, take it home, have a go on it, and then we can stick it on all 7 in year 2 or all 7 in year 4 or all.
A lot of
all
them are free, but that one.
A lot of them are free, yeah. But even when they are free, you need to put the password in.
You still won't.
So that's how to explore apps basically. Maths, we've got some really good maths apps. These two in particular involve a lot of motion. So with this one, the children fly to the biggest number by moving the iPad. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to whip through these. Music, there's phenomenal potential. If you were at the music evening last summer, and I forgot the chap's name. Who am I thinking of? The drum teacher, Ralph. He showed us what you can do with GarageBand. GarageBand is the most expensive app on these iPads. It's £10, and it's got incredible potential. What you can do with it. You can also learn to play the bagpipes. And this one, you have to blow into the microphone to get them going. Songs, you can get some free ones. So you can do Scott and the Brave. One that I one that my class seem to love is the congas. And obviously, because the iPad's multi-touching, you have two people working on it at once, or three. Whereas previously with touchscreen devices, you would have only been enabled one touch at a time. There's piano on there, there's all sorts. Early years, I put a few resources in there for early years. Some really good basic shape work, basic number work. There's still a lot of apps to explore there. Others, there's the Bebot app, which when Bebot's cost £45, £50 each. This is free, and it does the same thing. I've chosen a really easy one that we press. And it sounds just like a Bebot. You have to get them to turn this one down a bit. Yeah, just like the Bebots can get very grainy on your ears. And it obviously increases the challenge. And the idea is obviously to get the flower in as few spaces as possible. And the great thing about this is before is if you're working with a large group of children on Bebots, they would a lot of the time be very independent, and it'd be very difficult to really focus them in on making sure that they were doing the right instructions. Whereas this, they have to do the right instructions because it's a maze, and it saves their scores at the end. So they want to get the best score possible, so they're really learning about that directional language. Skyview free is really interesting if you're doing space, because you can see yourself in its location. So let's stick this. Not sure if this is going to work now. Oh, it is going to work. Here we are, look. This is where currently the International Space Station is. This is using GPS within the device. It's also using your current position, and it's showing you exactly where it is at this moment. So you can try and set the children the task to find where the moon is at the moment, for example. And you can see the different constellations in the sky. So that's a great, this is what we call augmented reality, where we place computer images over the top of live images. We encouraged the children to use when they first came into year 2, and it was just amazing watching 6 children sit there doing this, which this one takes a second to come on, but it always. And the most amazing person watching this was Ronaldo, and how he physically did this game. He sort of went between the two up, between the two grids, and moved it on the table. So what we have to do is we have to get the water from one pipe into the other pipe. We have to. That's done by moving the iPad. It's not as easy as it looks. You also use the finger. So again, there's great maths and physics and forces involved in this one. The one thing I'll do before we go is just show you how to print. So when you're using anything, so if you're using a website, or you're doing some typing, if you want to print the website that you're on, if I go to www.apple.com as an example, you need to be looking for this icon up here. It's the same in all the applications that you want to print in. So you press this application, you'll see that you've got different options. If I press print, it will ask me to select a printer. And what it will do is it'll look for printers that are on the Wi-Fi network. Now we haven't got any compatible printers in school that work on a Wi-Fi network. We don't have any AirPrint printers. So we've installed software on the Mac. So at the moment it's only on my Mac, but it will be on Anne's and the white Apple laptop as well that Bev is based with Bev. And basically you'll see that now, as soon as I've opened my laptop, I've got all of these printers available. These are printers that have previously been connected to my laptop. And the main one there, obviously, is the first one. The other printers are printers that I've had at home or have got at home now. But this one here is the one that we need to be sending to. This is the ICT Suite printer, and we can send it straight to there. So if you do click, if you are using iPads in school, and you go to print and there's nothing there, it's probably because one of our laptops isn't on. One of our laptops, one of the 3 Apple laptops, have to be connected to the same Wi-Fi network to enable them to print. It uses software called Print Activator, and it's free on Macs. You have to pay for it on Windows, which is why we put it onto the Macs. So it's not specifically that we've chosen to just put on the Apples, because we've done it because it's free. Has anyone got any other questions about the iPads at the
So
moment?
if you're not in for the day, we wait until you're in.
Well, if I'm not in, then Bev's white one will be on, or Anne's will be on. So the intention is that one of the three will be on, and Bev's going to open that one up and just leave it on, aren't you? Once I put the soft one up every day, so you shouldn't really have to. Hopefully, you won't need to. But if for any reason you can't print, that's probably why. Plug directly into the laptop, USB cable, and this goes into the bottom. And as I said, it's a bit fiddly. They only work one way round. So this end, the little symbol on, has to, yeah, it's really hard when you try and put it the wrong way. That little symbol needs to line up with the device. You'll see that the new iPhone they've launched this week, you can put it in either way, which is an obvious natural progression. But that isn't the case with these. So, but they aren't too. You've just got to be quite. This is a test now. There we are. It's in. So you've got to be quite direct and know where you're heading with it, because you can't see obviously. But you could plug this into a laptop. It will take longer to charge over a laptop, because the power that comes from a laptop is obviously less than if you plug it straight into the wall, which is why we can plug in them straight into the wall. But there's no reason why you can't connect them to a laptop to do. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.